Good evening and welcome to another race in the SRL Snowman Studios Motorsports Designs Cup Series scheduled today. We are at the Sonoma Raceway in Sonoma, California. Pretty small field here today as we start up qualifying. I believe only 15 cars have registered, and a lot of the main people that you'd see at these road courses like Van Drummond or Aiden Walker not present tonight. The definite points opportunities on the table. Currently looking at James Thurston, one of the best in this league at the road courses, but we also have Sam Brochu doing this as well. So despite this small field size, we might have a pretty good race on our hands here at Sonoma. But we got about 50 laps of road course action here, which will probably translate to about a little more than like 70 minutes of racing, since there's no halfway caution like there was at Portland. And like I said, small field, so less opportunities for cars to get into each other. And I'd imagine only a caution would come out if there's a huge track blocking wreck. But James Thurston getting it through the final corners very well, starting his first lap, 10 laps of qualifying. Through the uphill, looks pretty tight. He gets to slow down in time. Very neat and orderly through the uphill section. And through, I honestly don't know the names of these corners. I think this is 4A and a 4B. Maybe mistaken. Pretty sure this is turn 5. With that runoff section and that very scary wall that juts out. But James Thurston keeping the car under him pretty well on this very hot track. Oh, as commentators curse, this strikes him. We can go to Sam Brochu as he's ramping the car over the rumble strips, able to keep the car together right now. Going into the final sector through the S's. A little bit of a slide, but not enough to get him an off track. As long as he keeps it orderly through the final corner, he should be getting a really good time. A little bit of a lockup entering, but very clean first lap for that 98. Let's see where that puts him. Currently first on the board with a 1:15.309, but still going to go for that second lap to try to extend his pole margins. In second place right now is Matthew White, about 4/10 behind. But Sam Brochu still on top, even as more people are setting lap times. It gets a little crossed up over the rumble strips, but able to keep it in one piece. Hopefully that didn't hurt his time too much. Wide entry into, I believe that's turn 7. Into the S's. And you can see just how much that car bounces over the rumble strips with just how aggressive he's taking it. But still, nobody has been able to set a time faster than Sam Brochu right now. As he's coming into, I believe this is turn 11. Like I said, I'm not too sure of the corner numbers here. But very orderly through there. A little bit of a wiggle on exit, but nothing that'll lose him that much time. And let's see if he sets a faster lap. He goes 1/1000th slower on his last lap. Actually, wait, no, he actually went faster. A 1:15.278. My apologies. My timing board glitched out for a second. So on pole right now is Sam Brochu with a 1:15.278. James Thurston on his second lap. And see if he can get underneath that 1:15.278 and maybe into the 1:14s. Into the final corner. He only has one lap to do it, so his tires aren't up to temperature yet, probably. but very clean through the final corner, and he'll be able to set. Let's see what he gets. A 1:15.146 for James Thurston, moving him up into the pole. Good recovery qualifying drive after that spin on his first lap. Looking at Nicholas Martinez Jr. right now on his flying lap. Trying to set a better time than his first one, since his first lap was a 1:26.6. So hoping to get something more out of that 48 car, but as I say that, gets real loose and off tracks. That's going to end his qualifying run, unfortunately. Currently looking at Max Ford on his flying lap in that number 33 AM/PM car. His last lap was a 1:27.865. So looking to do a little bit better than that. Taking it nice and gingerly through these corners, not abusing the rumble strips to the extent that Sam Brochu was, but still using them very liberally. This might be a pretty decent time within the top 10 here at in qualifying at Sonoma. Oh, but he did go a little wide. Let's see if that gave him an incident. I don't know if it did or not. See if his lap gets invalidated here for going off track. Because I know that there's a little bit of wiggle room on the runoff right there, but I don't know exactly how much. See, comes across the line. A 1:17.653. That nets him 13th as he flies over the hill, does a couple barrel rolls, and lands on his roof. Ollie Reeves getting through the final corner. A little bit of a slide on the exit. And let's see what this will net him. A 1:17.443 for Ollie Reeves, moving himself into the third position here. Or 13th, sorry. 13th position here. And I believe that's the last car to set a qualifying time. So we watch Cole Denton get a little bit more practice. He's currently 5th in qualifying, and I think he's just trying to get a little bit more track time to get accompanied with pit entry and the track temperatures. But in practice, track temperatures were upwards of 120 degrees, and at a track like this and with these cars, that's going to equate to a very slick racing surface. As we just had Andretti Robinson register for this, since the qualifying period is not over. But now there is nobody on the track right now. Completely empty Sonoma Raceway right now as Jonathan Juergensmeyer gets onto the track. I don't think he has enough time to set a lap, but maybe get a little bit of practice in here. In that 8-ball chocolate whiskey car. Very nice looking 00 for Jonathan Juergensmeyer, but I don't think that he's going to be able to set a qualifying lap, as we only have 90 seconds left, and these lap times are within the ballpark of 1:15 to 1:17. It looks like this is going to be a track where you have to be very careful on throttle, because it looks like the back end will want to kick out on this slick track. But Sonoma, a pretty technical track, arguably the most technical on the NASCAR schedule, as you're dealing with a lot of elevation changes and tight flowing corners. But it's created some great racing. As you can see, Juergensmeyer got really squirrely under braking, maybe brake the car a little hard, and it got out of sorts. But I believe that we are going to have 16 cars starting tonight's event. I got word from the owner of SRL that this is mostly due to the streamer IDK player having a special event type of thing right now that has taken the interest of some of the SRL drivers instead of this race at Sonoma, which is completely in their power to do, but qualifying is wrapped up. So in just a second, we can get to your starting lineup. Okay, starting on the inside of row number 1, pole sitter James Thurston. On his outside is the number 98 of Sam Brochu. Two very accomplished road course drivers taking the front row here at Sonoma. No surprises there. Inside of row number 2, starting in third, is the 55 of Austin Doran. His outside is Ethan Fonseca Moreno in that number 62. Starting in fourth, last car inside the top 5 is the 46 of Cole Den. He won at Portland. On his outside is Matthew C. White, who was doing very well in practice, so maybe just had a bad qualifying run. We'll have to see what he does in this race. And let me get the camera on someone. Okay. And then starting on the inside of row number 4 is the 30 of Matthew Miles. On his outside is the number 79 of Barrett Pohemus. Inside of row number 5 is the 77 of Tyler J. Curley. On his outside, rounding out the top 10, is the number 22 of Chris Downey. First car outside the top 10 in qualifying is the number 23 of Quincy Strawhacker. On his outside is the number 89 of Jordan Strode. Inside of row number 7 is the 31 of Ollie Reeves. And on his outside is the number 33 of Max Ford. I believe they were the last people to set qualifying laps. First car to not post a qualifying time is the 00 of Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. His outside is the number 45 of Andretti Robinson. And then rounding out the field is going to be Nicholas Martinez Jr. in the 48. Andrew Cootie did some practice laps, but decided to retire before the race even went to qualifying. So he will be credited with last place points. So we have 17 drivers here for tonight's event at Sonoma. And while we're at it, we can give a quick little weather report. It is 82 degrees here in Sonoma, California. Winds are blowing southwesterly at 5 miles per hour, and it's partly cloudy out, so some corners might have more grip, and some corners might have less due to the sun blazing down on it. But that is it for the weather. And it's going to be very interesting to see how these cars will handle close racing on a very slick racing surface. But if there's anyone, or if there's really any two drivers who know their way around road courses in these big burly stock cars, it is the number 96 and 98 of James Thurston and Sam Brochu, respectively. So we might see a great performance from these two as they gap the field, but you never know. Things could definitely happen. My race timer is telling me that this will take just over an hour, at an hour and 4 minutes. But pace car is in. We are about to go green flag racing here at Sonoma. Waiting for the green flag. Green flag is out, and James Thurston with a good start. Brochu got a little sideways, got on the power a little bit too eagerly, but they are still side by side, entering the uphill right-hander. Thurston's able to clear Brochu. Austin Doran files in behind him. Ethan Moreno is in a dogfight with the 46 of Cole Den as Matthew White slips back a little bit. But it looks like it's a very orderly race right now. Barrett Pohemus to the inside of Tyler J. Curley, as we might have a car going around in the back. Yeah, Matthew Miles is all out of sorts, but I believe that he's the only car to go around. Don't know who hit him, But near the front, it is still Sam Brochu all over the back end of James Thurston as we get a wider shot so it's not as close to the cars. So you can see we had about a breakaway of 6 cars from James Thurston to Matthew White. But all 6 of these drivers within about a second and a half of the leader. Brochu already using up the rear end of Thurston. Oh, big slide from that 98. Will Austin Doran try to capitalize as he got a better exit? Brochu blocks him to the wall, and Doran gives him a little bit of a bump. First lap completed. Count that lap as led by James Thurston. But now Brochu has to catch up to that 96. While he's got a very, very hungry Austin Doran right behind him. Ooh, a nice camera angle here as we see all the cars flying by, almost all of them. But mostly single file racing here, as there's not really any side-by-side battles at the moment. As this is a great shot seeing all the cars snake their way through this track's winding layout. And now it's time for Sam Brochu to work on catching that 96 and maybe try to work him over to get past him, because like I've said in a bunch of broadcasts, it's one thing to catch a car, it's a whole other thing to pass him, as Cole Denton was trying to make a move on the 56 of Matthew White, wasn't able to get it done. But that was about the only action that we saw this entire lap. But Nicholas Martinez Jr. and Chris Downey are going at it for 15th place. Martinez backs out of it rather quickly. I think Martinez is just looking for a solid points day and not trying to cause any issues. Further up to the field, Jonathan Juergensmeyer has worked his way up. He started near the back as he was not able to set a qualifying lap, and he's up to 11th right now. And closest battle on the track right now is between Cole Denton and Matthew White. Den with a much wider exit or entry, allowing him to get a better exit. As we have a car going around in the back, that's the 31 of Ollie Reeves going around. Believe that he might have gotten help from Andretti Robinson, but now there's going to be a fierce battle for last between Ollie Reeves and Matthew Miles. But Cole Den is still hounding the back end of that 56 of Matthew White. Will he try something into the last corner? He locks it up. White expects it. Oh, a little bit of a wide exit from Denton. And White got really loose on exit out of his groove. But that moves the 46 into the 5th spot. As Chris Downey goes around in the back, he will drop to last right now. As the race up front, Sam Brochu said about a 10th faster last lap, so he needs to keep setting those laps to get right up to the back end of Thurston, and then he needs to wait for Thurston to make a mistake or straight up outplay him. But you can see how much more Brochu's sending it into the corners. A big slide on exit, but nothing that Sam Brochu can't handle. So you can definitely see the field starting to thin out a little bit now. As Jonathan Juergensmeyer was working his way through the field, but Jordan Strode is around. Seems like, whoa, big slide right in front of Ollie Reeves. That almost could have been more than a one-car accident, but he's able to keep it straight. But I was just about to say, Jonathan Juergensmeyer is still working his way through the field. He's up to 9th right now, so he's within the top 10. So this is a very good recovery drive from that 0-0. But up at the front, the 98 and 96 are running about equal times. James Thurston was just 0.04 of a second slower than Brochu. So Brochu definitely putting on the pressure, as you can see how much he's pushing that car. That car was pitched out sideways, but he was able to keep up the momentum. as he is all over the back end of that 96, letting him know that he is there, taking a much wider entry to maximize the exit. And it looks like Thurston was able to get on the gas sooner. But this is actually the closest battle on track right now between Brochu and Thurston for the lead. Coming to lap 6 right now into, like I said, I believe this is turn 11. Brochu looking to the outside, maybe came in a little hot, didn't want to run to the back end of Thurston, so he has to check up a lot. But it seems like that didn't really affect the gap between them that much, as Brochu actually set a lap that was about a tenth faster that time. So Brochu is definitely putting some heat on the back of that 96 car, but he just needs to find a way around. And don't count out Austin Doran, as he's been setting comparable lap times to Sam Brochu. He's actually the second fastest car out of these top 3. And the slowest car in this top 3 right now is James Thurston, who's probably doing a lot of mirror driving to try to keep that 98 behind him. As Quincy Strawhacker is around in the back, something happened to him, but it looks like it was just a minor spin and nothing crazy. But Thurston up to about a half a second lead. He's really turned on the jets in the second half of this lap. As further in the back, we have Matthew Miles gaining on Nicholas Martinez Jr. for the 12th spot. About 3/10 separating the 48 and the 30. But James Thurston is putting on a good show right now. A little bit of a wiggle on the uphill. So that car is definitely very loose across this very hot track. So even with a small field, we are still getting quite the show right now. As James Thurston trying his best to defend his lead from that 98. That 98 has been looking for a win all season. I don't believe that he's had one yet. And with people like Van Drummond out of the picture, it's definitely his biggest chance, as he launched over those curbs. Might have actually picked up an off track maybe for that. But still within striking distance of the 98, as blows are being exchanged between the 30 and the 48. Nicholas Martinez Jr. racing Matthew Miles very rough. But Matthew Miles is able to get in front of that 48. And they got Jordan Strode right behind them as well, who looks like he might be better than both of these cars after his early spin. Strode to the inside of the 48. No contact made. Just a good corner from that 89. He's going to be able to pull in front of that 48. Further up the field, Matthew C. White is starting to reel in the 46 of Cole Denton again. Only about 2/10 behind him, and more than enough to strike if he can outbreak that 46. The 46 doing a good job of defending that 5th spot right now. Like I said, the 46 won at Portland, so it's not like he's completely alien to this type of racing. So Matthew White definitely has his work cut out for him. Back to the front, Sam Brochu has closed in to 2.5 tenths on James Thurston. Coming out of the final corner, you can just see how close he's getting to that 96. According to calculations, the fuel run is about 28 laps. As we saw Brochu get really loose, getting eager on the throttle, but he got really loose and lost a couple tenths from that, from having to get out of the gas. But like I said, the fuel run is about 28 laps, so drivers should be able to split the race in half, since there is no competition caution like there was at Portland. But there are points handed out for leading at the time of the of halfway. As I was talking about the competition caution, Matthew White has gone around Cole Denton for the 5th spot. So I think a slip up from Cole Denton might have happened. As it says in lap 9, he went off track. But it seems like no one can get around that number 96 of James Thurston right now. As with the big slides that Brochu had last lap on the uphill, cost him about 3/10 on Thurston. But right now, this is the closest battle on track right now. Only other battle similar to that is the one for 9th, which is about a 10th farther apart. With Andretti Robinson trying to catch Jonathan Juergensmeyer for the 9th spot. Nobody to really challenge Robinson, as the next car behind him is already 8 seconds behind. But Brochu beginning to slowly reel in the 96 once again. He just needs to chain together a few laps where he doesn't have a big slide or Thurston makes a mistake. Thurston with a much better corner exit, about 2/10 faster. But anything can happen here in these races, as Max Ford is very slow in the back. I believe that he got spun around. Andretti Robinson still working on that 00 of Matthew Moreno, but for 3rd place right now, Ethan Fonseca Moreno is working hard to get past that 55 of Austin Doran. Doran was about 2/10 of a second slower than the 62 last lap, but 62 got all out of sorts. Got all out of sorts through the S's, so we lost a good amount of time. But the 55 getting equally squirrely through that corner before this tight hairpin right here. Going back through the field, Andretti Robinson is starting to put the pressure on Jonathan Juergensmeyer, and the same case is with Barrett Bohemus and Tyler Curley. Bohemus only about 4/10 of a second behind this 77 of Tyler Curley for 7th place, with about a 5-second gap between Curley and Cole Denton. But Andretti Robinson inching closer every lap to passing that 00, as we are on lap 12 out of 50 right now. This race is going by quickly without any cautions, thank goodness, as Barrett Bohemus might try to make a move on that 77, but it looks like he just did not get the run down the short chute like he wanted, but the 77 misses the corner. He's going to have to take it a lot wider and get a worse exit. Here will the 79 try to make a move? No, it looks like he's going to be pretty content running right behind him. That backs up the 00 a little bit to the 45, who is now within 2/10 as he gets right to the back end of the 00, but has to get out of the gas, as he might have overshot the corner a little bit. Bohemus with a defensive line to defend against Juergensmeyer. Great racing for the 8th spot right now, as this is allowing Tyler Curley to very slowly pull away, about 5 about 5/10 of a second separating Bohemus from Curly. And this is the closest battle on track right now between these 4 cars. Up at the front, James Thurston has pulled to about a 1.6 second lead over Sam Brochu, as Tyler Curley disappears with network issues for a second. There he is. But Jurgensmeyer, big dive to the inside of Bohemus. A little bit of contact made, a little bit of shoving, but Jurgensmeyer takes the spot, and now Bohemus has to defend against Andretti Robinson on his tail. I doubt Bohemus is going to be very happy about being used up like that when the 00 sent it in there, but that's sometimes something you have to do to get the spot. And now he has to regain all that momentum. And but Bohemus to the inside of the final corner, a little bit of a wiggle from the 79, and the 00 able to hold off the 79 after that big slide. But while that was happening, Ethan Moreno has gotten past Austin Doran for the 3rd spot, and he's setting faster times than Sam Brochu. I don't know if the tires have fallen off for Sam Brochu or what, but he is he's starting to send or do a lot slower laps than James Thurston last time by. He was 0.3 slower. But something happened to Cole Denton as it looks like he went around. Let's go to a replay real quick to see what happened. As he got over the rumble strips and hit the inside wall. Actually, that's where the damage came from, as that camera made it just out of shot, but you can see the front end damage on that 46. Obviously not what he wants to have happening. Hopefully it doesn't cause any steering issues or handling issues. But definitely going to be a damper on the day for that 46, as he's going to try to make those positions back. But Sam Brochu is actually struggling right now. Struggling to keep to the back of James Thurston, as Thurston has pulled up to a 2.5 second lead. James Thurston's last lap was a 1:16.2, and Ethan Moreno's last lap was a 1:16.3. Sam Brochu's last lap was a 1:17 flat, as Brochu lets Moreno by. So now the question is, can Ethan Moreno in that 62 catch up to the 96 of James Thurston? Because it seems just like Brochu just doesn't have a car left to contend. As big slide in the back from Austin Doran. Into the wall. That's straight concrete right there too. For that 55, did he actually hit it, or did he save that car? I could have sworn that he hit it. Let's get a chase camera on that real quick. A light brush. Austin Doran got very lucky he didn't hit that with the front end of his car. But he's going to fall back to the 5th spot. So this hot track and maybe some rear tire wear definitely starting to affect these drivers, as James Thurston has pulled away to a 4-second lead over Ethan Fonseca Moreno in the 62. I don't want to give a commentator's curse, but even with 35 laps to go, that's quite the gap to make up. You have to make up the time at about a rate of about 0.2, 1.5 tenths a lap. And we just know, and we know how consistent that 96 is at the road courses. He is automatic here, as I tried to look at Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, and he immediately blinked out. But Jurgensmeyer looking to the inside of Tyler Curley into the final corner, not close enough, as this battle for now 6th, rages on, with Andretti Robinson in the mix now to try and pass that 00, as Barrett Bohemus is starting to slide back just a little bit behind Tyler Curley and company. But it seems like Tyler Curley is really struggling on the uphill, as that allows a lot of the cars to catch up to him. But Jurgensmeyer, his favorite spot to pass is this corner right here, and it looks like he's not able to get to that 77 just yet, especially when he has the 45 all over his back bumper, and maybe a 79 hungry for something happened with Sam Brochu. I think we might have seen Sam Brochu. Yeah, Sam Brochu gets really sideways, and I'm gonna show the iRacing. You might pardon me. Yes, he alt F4s. So Sam Brochu is out of this race. It's got to be tough for the driver of that 98 car. I mean, that's just the nature of Sonoma. It is such a tough track to be competitive at, especially when you have someone like James Thurston just tearing it up right now. As, I mean, Ethan Moreno is running comparable lap times to James Thurston. Last time by for James Thurston was a 117 or 116.73, and the last lap time for Ethan Moreno was a 116.74. So 62 and 96 are the two fastest cars on the lead, or two fastest cars on the track right now. And they're about 0.4 of a second faster than the car in third, the 56 of Matthew White. But in the back, we still have a great battle for the 6th spot. Jody Robinson looking to make a move on the 00 of Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. Not able to have anything materialize just yet, but Jurgensmeyer has a great run on Tyler Curley exiting that corner, and the gap is pretty much the same as it was previously. As I just realized I was a little bit far behind. Apologies about that. As it looks like Tyler Curley has made a mistake, and he's fallen to the back of this pack. So now it is Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer leading this race, or this battle right now. But he's got a very hungry Andretti Robinson right behind him, and Barrett Bohemus for the last spot within this top 5. Has something happened to Nope, Matthew White is just having internet issues right now. But see if we can get anything on Austin Doran. As there we go. Yeah, big internet issues for that 56. But Austin Doran not really sure of where to go. But Austin Doran has hunted him down after his big slide. So this is the battle for pretty much the last podium spot. But an interesting development, Ethan Moreno has set a faster lap last time by than James Thurston in the lead. Moreno with a 116.82, James Thurston with a 116.89, and this gap might start shrinking now with the addition of lapped cars, as you saw at the beginning of the shot. They're catching up to that 48 of Nicholas Martinez Jr. Quite quickly, I might add. See, coming into the final corner, that's the lap number 48 of Martinez. I think Thurston might catch him in a good spot, as long as the 48, big slow up from the 48, but Thurston was prepared for it, so he goes around him And Nicholas Martinez Jr. is the first car 1 lap down in the 12th position. And let's see. And Thurston actually set a faster lap than Moreno last time, pretty much erasing his gains from the previous lap. As this battle for 5th is still raging on, but now it's mostly for 6th, as Jonathan Jurgensmeyer has pulled out to a comfortable lead over Andretti Robinson right now, as Andretti Robinson might have overshot the corner just a little bit. Polhemus gets a much tidier run through the uphill and closing in on that 48. Pit window will be opening up in a couple laps to split this race in half. This has been a great battle for the 5th spot, and a great drive from that 00 and 45 respectively, as they did not qualify and they have made their way up into 5th and 6th. But that can change at any moment with one bad input of the throttle pedal, because it is just so easy to slide these cars around, especially once the tires are wearing a lot. If you're abusing the rear tires, it is so hard to have rear grip here with the elevation changes. But now this battle's starting to string out just a little bit. But Jurgensmeyer missed the corner a little bit, and Robinson got a much better corner uphill than Jurgensmeyer. And Andretti Robinson is really closing the gap between him and the 00. Oh, a little bit of a wiggle from the 45 on corner entry. He's gonna push wide, and that allows Polhemus to get past him. That's how little margin for error there is in this combo with the Cup cars at a unstable track like Sonoma. The car can just get out from you so quickly. As now Polhemus has to deal with the 45 right behind him, as obviously Andretti Robinson is going to be hungry to get that spot back. As whoa, another big slide from the 45, a big lockup. So maybe the tires are starting to go on that car, as he lost a lot of ground to Polhemus. And yeah, he's now about 1.2 seconds back from after that, as Tyler Curley enters pit lane. He's the first car to go into pit lane on lap 23 out of 50, a little bit before halfway, but definitely within the fuel window, since the window was 28. So maybe he's looking to leapfrog some people by short pitting, in a good pit entry for that 77. And definitely taking tires too. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But Polhemus now to the inside of Jurgensmeyer, as I think Jurgensmeyer might have blown the corner a little bit. And now Polhemus is within the top 5 for this event, right before halfway as well. So Polhemus biding his time, and eventually pays out in spades as he's able to get the 5th spot. But will he be able to hold it off? It'll be interesting to see who goes down pit road this time by, as Tyler Curley has exited pit lane. And so did Cole Denton as well. So Cole Denton back in 11th place right now. As, he gets really sideways. Maybe that's cold tires biting him in the butt. But now he's got Nicholas Martinez Jr. battling with him for the 11th spot, as Martinez sends it in really hard. Gets really sideways over the curbs right in front of Matthew White and Austin Doran. That's the last thing either of them want to see, is an out-of-control lapped car in front of them. Matthew White is going to have to work to get around that 48 most likely. Going back to the battle with Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. Andretti Robinson seems to have gathered the car up and has caught up to the 00, about 2/10 separating the 00 and the 45. And you can just see how good of a drive Andretti Robinson gets approaching the final corner. And it is so easy to lock up these cars in a hard braking zone like that, because you have to keep the wheels super straight no matter how much you want to turn it to get maximum braking efficiency. As James Thurston has gone to about a 5-second lead over Ethan Moreno, as this is going to be really tough for Moreno to overcome. He'll have to pull some sort of strategy just to get within striking distance again. But Austin Doran gets around Matthew White for the 4th spot. I don't know if Matthew White had a little bit of a bobble or something in the corner, but Austin Doran gets around the 56 for the last podium position, but they're well behind Thurston and Moreno, about 10 and 16 seconds behind respectively. And further in the back, Andretti Robinson, he's got to be tired of seeing this 00 in front of him, especially now that the 79 is starting to pull away. So I think that the pace is starting to drop off for the number 00. Used up a lot of his stuff getting around cars, but now that everyone's pretty strung out, he has to fend off another car who's worked his way through the field and maybe might have saved his stuff a little better. And Andretti Robinson now 45 for the 6th position, as Barrett Bohemus has pulled away already to a 1.5 second gap. Closest battle on the track right now, only 2.5 separating the 00 and the 45. A great corner entry from the 45, but gets a little sideways on exit. See the brake rotors glowing bright orange, as Robinson did miss the corner a little bit, didn't get as close to the rumble strip as he wanted to. That's going to leave a couple tenths on the table between him and Juergensmeyer right now. But Ethan Moreno pulls into pit lane before James Thurston does. So we will have to see what strategy that 62 takes, since nothing is really happening on track right now. Gets a good entry into his pit stall. Right sides. We should probably see left sides as well. And yeah, left side's on that 62 car. So a pretty solid stop for that number 62 as we are past the halfway mark. 24 laps to go here at the Sonoma Raceway. And Barrett Bohemus experiencing some front running right now in 2nd place, about 25 seconds behind the 79, as a bunch of cars are in or have gone to pit lane. Probably should have put up the pit road graphic, but it's completely slipped my mind to do so. But James Thurston is now in pit lane on lap 27. Will Barrett Bohemus do the same? Yes, he will. So the first car out of pit lane is the 62. And let's get a roll bar shot to see how far ahead the 96 will be, as he's passed Matthew Miles, and now Thurston's leaving his pit stall. And you can see that blue car up in the front is Thurston, as Moreno goes a little wide. Oh, that's going to kill any gains that he had on Thurston. He had about a 3-second he actually cut the lap time down by about, or the gap between them by about a second and a half, but then lost it by going just a little bit wide. And that's how punishing this track is. But Juergensmeyer is now 4/10 behind Barrett Pohemus. Oh, Andretti Robinson goes around in the back. I heard a little bit of tire squeal, but Andretti Robinson goes around, but not too much of punishment as Matthew Miles comes within 2 seconds. But side-by-side racing between the 00 and 79 for the 5th spot. Juergensmeyer has to relent and let Pohemus by, as he's having a little bit of internet issues. Well, look at the run that he's getting on that 79. A big slide from the 79. And Pohemus goes around, and he will tow that car, surprisingly, instead of trying to get it righted. And that will be the end of the race for Barrett Pohemus, which is quite a shame, as he was having a good race. And someone that I haven't really mentioned all that much this race, Cole Denton going down, or not Cole Denton, sorry, Chris Downey going down pit lane to take a pit stop, as he's currently 9 laps down and looking to gain a spot, as he might have had to serve a penalty for too many incident points, it seems, as I don't believe he pit. But anyways, he's looking to gain a spot from Barrett Pohemus since he alt F4'd. But the gap between Ethan Moreno and James Thurston is about 5 seconds right now. James Thurston sitting a 1:14.676 compared to Ethan Moreno's 1:15.365. That was the fastest lap, actually, from James Thurston. I believe he's the only driver to hit the 1:14 bracket on those newer tires, so he is absolutely flying right now. And while we are doing that, why don't we take an onboard look of that 96 car and just let them guide you around the track for a little bit. Okay. The good thing about these road course races is that they allow me to go to the bathroom and grab a drink while it is spread apart like this. James Thurston still in the lead. Gap has remained pretty steady, to about 5 seconds between him and Ethan Moreno. And really, there's not much of any battling going on right now. Closest interval between two cars is Jordan Strode trying to catch Matthew Miles for 7th place, but even that is a 1.8 second affair. As did something happen to Matthew White? We see, oh, okay. So he was running, I believe, in 4th or 3rd, and gets really crossed up over the curbs into the tire barrier. And it looks like, oh, and he just throttles it up too much, spins it around. And he said, that's enough for me. And tows the car. So there is a very real possibility that with that happening, Nicholas Martinez Jr. is going to get a top 10 by sheer virtue of doing nothing. As he's just been running his own race. As yes, he is past Matthew C. White and Nicholas Martinez Jr. in that Burnt Rubber Racing Warehouse number 48 has made it within the top 10. Currently the second slowest car on track right now. The only car slower than him is the very damaged number 46 of Cole Denton, as Chris Downey is even setting times about a second faster than Martinez. But besides that, not too much happening. Chris Downey currently 9 laps down, and Nicholas Martinez Jr. the only car lap down, but not as lap down, as he's only 1 lap down. But James Thurston is just putting on a clinic right now, as I believe that he has led every single lap so far. And there's just not a whole lot to talk about, really. Jody Robinson has made his way into the top 5 now that Matthew White went around. But, I mean, here's the gaps from 1st to 5th. Ethan Moreno 5 seconds behind James Thurston, and then Austin Doran 11 seconds behind the 62. And then Jonathan Jurgensmeyer 13 seconds behind the 55, and then Andretti Robinson last car in the top 5, almost 6 seconds behind the 00. And the closest interval right now is Jordan Strode trying to catch Matthew Miles, as Chris Downey in pit lane. I think that he's just here to have fun and maybe get damage repaired. I don't know if he went off. Oh yeah, something happened to him. Let's see if we can get a better look, as I believe this is turn 5, goes almost 2 wheels on that 22 both times and nudges it into the concrete wall. So he'll tow it, get repaired, and he'll probably just go back out on track for fun. But James Thurston now catching the 46 of Cole Denton, but he's got about a 5.8 second gap on Ethan Moreno. So he can take his time with finding out the safest way to get around that 46. As Denton not making it easy for the 96 to get past. but that damage certainly isn't helping him. He'll let Thurston to the inside right here, and almost made contact with him. He's going to try a crossover as a lapped car, it seems. Braking about at equal times. Denton side by side with a 96, trying to stay on the lead lap. And Thurston able to get past him without too much of a hassle. But that did cost Thurston about a second worth of time, as the gap between him and Moreno went down from 5.7 to 4.7 because of that. And Cole Denton's car is definitely not handling very well, as we saw him have a little bit of an off-road excursion right there. Let's see just how much time this trying to get around the 46 costed James Thurston, and he goes across the line. 1.5 seconds between the lap before that and last lap, as Moreno set time 1.1 seconds faster. But that is I believe the last lapped car for quite a while. Yeah, the next car is the 77 of Tyler Curley. So I try to click him on the track map and it just sends to the pace car. But the next lapped car is Tyler Curley, and he's far ahead of James Thurston. So unless something catastrophic happens, Thurston probably won't have to deal with many more lapped cars. I believe Cole Denton is in between Thurston and Moreno right now. But an interesting development is that Jordan Strode is starting to catch Matthew Miles more. 1.2 seconds separating the 89 and the 30, when last time we checked in on this, it was about 2 seconds. As I think Matthew Miles might have gone off track, as he was a second slower that time by than Jordan Strode. And they're catching the lapped car of Nicholas Martinez Jr. But we will update you if anything happens on that. Chris Downey in 13th, 11 laps down. He's going to be able to get past Matthew White and Barrett Bohemus as long as he doesn't have another incident and just runs laps, because Barrett Bohemus is only 1 lap ahead of him, and then Matthew White is 5 laps ahead of him. So as long as he doesn't have anything catastrophic happen to him, he should be able to get 11th place. But I think if nobody has any big accidents from here on out, or from 11 laps to go on out, and he only doesn't almost bin it like that, 11th will probably be the highest that number 22 will be able to get. A rough race for Chris Downey, but some say that Perseverance is his middle name, as I believe Ethan Moreno was trying to get around Cole Denton, and that slowed him up quite a bit. Ironically, 1.1 seconds worth of slowdown between James Thurston and Ethan Moreno. So definitely all the time that Moreno gained from Cole Denton holding up James Thurston pretty much got evaporated, and that gap is now 6.2 seconds with 12 laps to go. But we currently only have 11 cars on the track right now, so we'll go through the cars on track. James Thurston currently in first. Ethan Fonseca Moreno in second. Austin Doran back in third in that 55. Then Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, great recovery drive for that 00 within the top 5 in fourth right now. Andretti Robinson, last car in the top 5. Then behind him is the 30 of Matthew Miles, who we saw get turned around at the beginning. Then behind him is Jordan Strode, who's dropped back to 2.1 seconds. And all the way back here is the 77 of Tyler Curley in 8th. And then Tyler Curley is actually the last car on the lead lap. And then it's Cole Denton in 9th right now. First car 1 lap down, as Cole Denton's trying to manage Chris Downey, as I think he's trying to let Chris Downey by before they get to Austin Moreno. But Chris Downey goes really wide, and he has to slow up a lot not to hit that tire barrier that juts out. And then in 10th is Nicholas Martinez Jr. And the last car on the track right now is the 22 of Chris Downey, who nearly avoided certain disaster. But Austin Doran able to get around Cole Denton without too much difficulty, as he sinks 2 wheels into the grass to try to get as much time as possible. As Chris Downey is just missing that final corner. Maybe it's something handling related that's causing that to happen, but 10 laps to go for James Thurston, as I believe he's led every lap so far, and just has to go through this course 10 more times. And I mean, he could really just baby this car around, as Ethan Moreno would have to get about 0.6 of a second a lap just to get to the back end of James Thurston. So no reason for Thurston to push at all. And sometimes there are definitely races like these where not too much happens. Sonoma is definitely one of those tracks where once it starts to get spread out, not too much tends to happen unless someone makes a mistake. But it seems like now that everyone is about 15 to 18 laps into their stint, their tires are operating at optimum temperature, and as long as they don't have damage, their cars are at peak handling efficiency as well. So, I mean, this was just a race that's been dominated by James Thurston. Sam Brochu had the opportunity at the beginning, but just couldn't get to a position where he could challenge James Thurston. Then he had the slide, which he then afforded out of. Nine laps to go, coming to 8 laps to go. Thurston can see the win in his mind. He just needs to not get in his own head. But while we're doing this, Chris Downey may get 11th spot this time by, as he goes on an off-road excursion. That 22 car is not handling well at all, as he's currently the second slowest car on track behind Cole Denton in the 46, with seemingly a lot less damage. But Chris Downey has now moved into the 11th position in that 22 car, one spot outside of a top 10. I unfortunately don't think he'll be able to crack the top 10, since he's 11 laps down, and the only car ahead of him is 9 laps ahead of him. And I mean, honestly, a good run for Nicholas Martinez Jr. in 10th, getting a top 10. I know it's only a field of 17 cars, but still, just running his own race. Even if it is a little bit at a snail's pace, it's still his own race, and that car is very clean. I don't think that he got into any accidents besides giving the 30 a little bit of a shove when the 30 passed him. But right now, the closest interval between any two cars is between Matthew Miles and Jordan Strode at 3.6 seconds. And we'll go back to James Thurston, who's actually going to be catching the 48 real soon. Because let me look at the track map real quick. Yeah, Thurston's going to be catching Tyler Curley and Nicholas Martinez pretty soon, actually, as he's running about 2 seconds, 1 to 2 seconds faster each lap than them. But I mean, if I was Thurston, I really wouldn't try too hard to get past him, because Ethan Moreno is 6.8 tenths behind James Thurston. So even if he runs at a second slower per lap, it's still not going to be enough ground for Moreno to cover. So it's just really up to James Thurston not making any mistakes. Oh no, Chris Downey has a black flag. Do we know for what? I think it's too many incidents, as he tries to enter pit lane. Rides the wall. Okay. Oh, geez, that's a hard hit to that pit barrier. Tries to Ross Chastain the pit wall. So we know it wasn't for too many incidents. It was definitely for speeding. That 22 car is now in pit lane, and honestly, just for fun, not much is happening on track right now. Let's get an onboard shot as we see him go on an off-road expedition. As he is running his own path through this race. Let's get a roll bar shot of Chris Downey. I believe this is the old layout, like the historic IndyCar layout, I think. And then he hits a bump, gets really loose, dirt tracks it in the sand, and then says, "I'm just gonna have a little bit of fun," and rides the wall, hits the pit the pit wall, but able to keep that car going. And currently in pit lane right now, as I might have to refresh ATVO real quick, as it just killed the fonts for some reason. Let's see, load theme. Yep, there we go. Back to normal Fox Sports font activities. So 4 laps to go. As Cole Denton has gone 2 laps down. Same with Nicholas Martinez Jr. So while we were watching the adventures of Chris Downey, James Thurston has put them another lap down, as he's about to put Tyler Curley a lap down, as Curley's fighting back against that 96. And honestly, if I was James Thurston, I would just let Curley by. But they're racing each other pretty cleanly, and Curley lets off the gas to allow Thurston to get through that corner. A little bit of a wiggle for that 96, as I believe I'm seeing Nicholas Martinez Jr. lock it up and go slideways. And that was actually for position, as Nicholas Martinez Jr. was in 9th spot. Now the question is, will he get a corner cutting penalty for that? I believe that he's currently letting up to try to serve that corner cut penalty. As this is probably the last thing Ethan Moreno wants to see is two lap cars battling each other, especially when one's got a slowdown. But they were side by side as Martinez is slowing down a lot to serve that penalty. Coming to 2 laps to go real soon for this 96 car. I don't remember the last time that there's been a race where someone has led every single lap here in SRL. This is definitely going to be a contender for one of the most dominant performances in SRL history if Thurston can keep the wheels on this thing. 2 laps to go here. Bunny ears from the flagman. And, I mean, just under 2 or just over 2 minutes left in this race. As the closest gap between any cars right now is between Cole Den and Nicholas Martinez Jr. at 2.5 seconds. As Chris Downey has re-entered the track, I believe. Oh no, he's still definitely in pit lane. After his pit road expedition. And nobody has been able to hold a candle to James Thurston for about the last 10 laps. And you know what? Just for this, I'm just going to mute for the last lap because we'll just let James Thurston do the speaking for himself. And besides that little wiggle through, I believe turn 5 it has been a flawless victory for James Thurston in that 96. He will take the win at Sonoma. And one of the most dominant fashions I've seen. Ethan Moreno in second place. And then 18 seconds behind, missing the last corner completely, is Austin Doran in the 55. So those are going to be your 3 interview members. In just a second, as he does a good drift if he didn't nick the inside wall a little bit. But James Thurston, just complete domination here as the unofficial results are posted. So we'll go through that really quickly before going to driver interviews. Winning this race is number 96 of James Thurston. Then behind him in the 62 is Ethan Fonseca Moreno. In third is Austin Doran in the 55. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer finishes fourth in the 00, 42 seconds behind the leader. And behind him is Andretti Robinson in the 45. Last car inside the top 5. First car outside of the top 5 is the 30 of Matthew Miles coming back from early wreck in 6th. Then behind him is the number 89 of Jordan Strode, the last car on the lead lap. First car 1 lap down is Tyler J. Curley in the 77. And then it is Cole Dent in the 46 and 9th. And then last car in the top 10 is the 48 of Nicholas Martinez Jr. Chris Downey in the 22 is the last, or was the last driver running, even though he's registered as out in 11th. And behind him are drivers that did not complete the full race: Matthew White, Barrett Bohemus, Sam Brochu, Ollie Reeves, Quincy Strawhacker, Max Ford, and Andrew Cootie, who did not start. So we will be going to break for just a second while we get everyone ready for interviews. Okay, so coming back to a nice shot of our race winner, James Thurston. Let's get him in the interview booth. Coming home in first is the number 96 of James Thurston. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, a dominant race for you, even with the small field and the whole IDK player e-ticket situation. Did you expect for it to be such a seemingly easy race to dominate?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I knew that there were some pretty quick guys in here. It was definitely going to be hard to, pull this off, but, um, hold on. But, yeah, I think that once I saw my pace in qualifying, I was quite a bit quicker in qualifying, so I just kind of knew if I could just hold the lead, it would be relatively easy. And then, Sam behind me, I don't know if he was just trying to force me into a mistake or what his deal was, but he was pushing his car like a teenager with fresh tires in an unlimited budget. I don't really know what his whole game plan was, but he kind of was racing like it was a 5-lap shootout and tore his stuff up. And then when he fell off, he just left. I guess I don't really know what happened to him, but after that, um, Ethan Fonseca Marino, I don't really know how to say his full name. I don't want to mispronounce it. But he was very quick, but he was already kind of held back behind me enough that I kind of just could save my stuff. I didn't have to push too hard to keep it out front. But yeah, I had more fun running this than single file Indy in Ramos's race. Just say that.
So that leads on to another question because I'm not a very good road racer, honestly. And the last time I did any next gen road racing was about 2 years ago for NIS Watkins Glen. How big of an impact was tires on this race? I know it was a real hot track out there, so it was real slick. But in my experience, tires really didn't matter that much. So did something happen between 2 years ago and now to where road course tires on the next gen matter a lot more, and you actually have to save your stuff?
Yeah, they updated them recently. You have to actually save them and change them every stop now. Uh, I think on the first stop, I had my rear tires down to below 50%. I mean, like they wear a lot more now. You have a lot more. Really do have to save them. And clearly, some guys either didn't get the memo or just don't know how to save. But I thought it was a pretty good race overall. Super happy to win this. Thanks to Power Smash, Infinity Speed Motorsports, and Murphy Esports. Just man, absolutely what we needed to do tonight.
So yeah, with that being said, do you have any people or sponsors you want to thank besides Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsports for helping you to get to another victory on the season?
Um, yeah, just again, thanks to Power Smash, Infinity Speed Motorsports, and Murphy Esports, and IORA. Um, all the wonderful sponsors on this race car that make it go quick. And yeah, we'll see if we can get some more of these things here.
Short and sweet, just as how James Thurston likes it. That's a dominant win for that number 96. We will see you at the next race.
Thank you.
All right. And now we can go back to our second place finisher. Let me drag him into the booth real quick. Coming home in P2 is Ethan Fonseca Moreno. I hope I'm saying that right. You got a copy?
Yes, you said it right.
Awesome. Okay, I said it right. I said it right the entire race, so that's a good thing. So, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if this is your first race in SRL, but you definitely put on a very good show, coming home in second. What was your strategy? Because there were times during this race where you were catching that 96, but then it just seemed to never pan out. So, what was your strategy when you just saw the 96 get further and further away?
I was trying to save my tires a bit there just to see if I could make like a late push there at the end of the run and try to close in as much as possible. The goal was to get within at least like 3 or 2 seconds so I could pit and try to get that advantage on the new tires to make it that time up so I could be able to get in front and at least be able to hold them up for a little bit. But um, yeah, I honestly had no idea how it was gonna go before this race even started, so I was just hoping for a top three at least. But glad to come away with the second there. So good race overall.
Yeah, you definitely achieved your goal. And like I said, I'm not sure if you've raced in SRL before. So are you planning on running more often, or are you just going to show up for one or two races here or there and focus on other things?
We'll see. I think I'm gonna try to do most races. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do all, but no, yeah, I've raced before. It was a couple seasons ago, a couple years ago actually, but just making a return and bringing back some good old times.
Well, definitely making a splash in your return coming home P2. Do you have any people or sponsors you want to thank for making this run possible?
I want to shout outs for Austin Dora, and I beat him on track. So and also we had that little race at the drag strip afterwards. What's it called? He also made this paint scheme as well, so that's pretty cool of him. Um, Shout out to Telcel for being on the hood of the car, and yeah, thank you to everybody else for putting on a good show tonight.
Well, that's the driver of the number 62, Ethan Fonseca Moreno, making a splash in his return to the SRL Snowman Studios Motorsports Designs Cup Series. Hopefully, we will see you at the next race, brother.
Thank you.
All right, and then finally coming home in P3 is the 55 of Austin Dorn. Let's see if I can get him into the booth. Coming home P3 is the 55 of Austin Dorn. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
So P3 at Sonoma, how are you feeling about it? You had a pretty rough race early on. We saw you have a big slide, but he comes home with a P3, so you can't really complain about that, can you?
Yes, it was called a hard-earned P3 today. Yeah, killed my tires the first run. Absolutely destroyed them. Yeah, this new update is pretty fierce. You slide the rears once, and then it's pretty much game over that whole run. Yeah, Ethan and Thurston were just able to gap me that whole run there. But overall, the race was decent. Saved my tires a little better second time around, and I thought me and Matthew were gonna have a good battle there, but unfortunately, things happened to him. But yeah, overall, good race.
So you mentioned how the tires degrade when you slide the car. What was your tire strategy through the race? Because I heard from James that tires matter a lot more in the next gen on road courses than they used to. So after that happened, was it just trying to baby the car to the pit stop and not try to slide it any more than necessary?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I was trying to even hold off Ethan there that first run, and I slid the rears before I let him by, and I just knew I couldn't hold him off because I could already tell he was saving his stuff a lot more. But yeah, you try to run kind of consistent, try to keep similar lap time to what you have. But yeah, once your tires get hot in the rear, start to wear a little more, it keeps getting harder and harder to run consistent laps at that point. So yeah, they just kept falling off lap after lap, what it felt like.
But either way, even if it was hard earned, a very well done finish, P3 at Sonoma. Do you have any people or sponsors you want to thank for making this run possible?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out. I think I finished third in the same car 2 weeks ago. So shout out Hotspot. A little bit of good luck in this car. Go ahead and follow him on Instagram, the NASCAR Hotspot. Austin D Graphics, of course. Good designer and myself. Frontline Insurance, Winn-Dixie, K1 Race Gear, LM Photography, and SD Graphics. And my team, of course, DC Racing.
Well, a very nice weekend for Austin Doran coming home in P3. We will see you at the next race.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
Okay, so now with that wrapped up, I can get this graphic off your screen. I can set the camera to scenic. And that will conclude today's broadcast of the SRL Snowman Studios Motorsports Designs race at Sonoma. My name is Garrett Hess. You're watching Fireball Talks NASCAR. Big thank you to Andrew Schulte and SKS Graphics for their help with their ticker. If you want tickers and ticker help, go to SKS Graphics and specifically Andrew Schulte, best in the game to do it. But besides that, I hope you have a great night.